Shalom Haverim. Hello, friends, and welcome to our special Maundy, Thursday edition of Virtual Church. I hope that you're all doing well. As you can see, I am coming to you from my home office instead of the church. See the background, I have my piñata. I've had this back here for some time, actually over a year, and I've had many Zoom conversations with people and recorded messages, and only one person has asked me, why do you have a pinata in your background? And I simply respond to that person, why don't you have a pinata in your background? Yeah. Well, today is different, isn't it? I don't know. I didn't know what to do with Maundy Thursday. Now, Maundy Thursday is the day when Jesus gathers with his disciples in the upper room, and he brings them together for this thing that we call the Last Supper. And you know the story. After the meal, Jesus takes the bread and he breaks it and he gives it to his disciples and he says, "This is my body broken for you." And he takes the cup and he blesses it and he passes it around. He says, "This is my blood poured out for you for the new covenant. Drink of this, eat of this bread and drink of this wine, um, and do this in remembrance of me." Often on Maundy, Thursday, we will do these acts. We'll have communion. And I know a lot of people are trying to do something. They're trying to do some sort of electronic communion, but I'm just not feeling it. Because to me, communion, as the name suggests, is about doing this in community. And though we can have this kind of electronic community, it's not the same. So I'm gonna wait. We'll have communion when we can get together face to face and see one another and break that bread, and I guess probably share a lot of germs that way too. At least we don't do the common cup, right? But you see, there's also another aspect of Maundy Thursday that we Mennonites have emphasized for a long time, probably since the early years of the Anabaptist movement. And that's this other thing that Jesus does when they first gather. John's gospel tells the story that as Jesus met his disciples there in the upper room, he took off his outer garment and wrapped a towel around his waist. He filled a basin with water and he began to wash the feet of his disciples. And of course, he comes to Peter, and Peter says, "No, you'll never wash my feet, Lord." And Jesus says, "Yeah, you really need to let me do this because this is a part of what we do. If you don't want to have part of this ritual, you have no part in me." I'm paraphrasing. And Peter, of course, says, "Well, then don't wash just my feet, wash my whole body." And he, as Peter tends to do, he kind of misses the point. Jesus then goes on to tell his disciples, "As I've washed your feet, wash one another's feet." So in the Mennonite church, we have this practice of foot washing, and we maybe do it once a year, maybe a couple of times, but usually it's once a year on this night, on Maundy Thursday. But it's not really about washing feet. Hopefully you are washing your feet at home. Maybe your hygiene is not as good as it could be during this time of quarantine, but I hope you are still washing feet, literally. But we Mennonites have also said this is a metaphor. When Jesus says to wash one another's feet, he's calling us to serve one another. Because this was the act of a servant. That's why Peter pushed back. He said, "You'll never wash my feet, Lord," because it was a servant, a person lower on the totem pole, lower in the social class, that washed the feet of another. Jesus says, wash one another's feet, serve one another. So how does that apply to us today in the midst of this COVID-19 pandemic? Well, I just want to say I have the utmost respect for the people who are serving in various capacities around not only our community, but around the world. And I hesitate to start naming these capacities because I don't want to leave anybody out. But of course, we think of like the medical workers, and we think of the grocery workers, the people stocking the shelves, thinking of the truck drivers, and thinking of the first responders. And we can go on and on and on about people who are putting even their own well being, their own safety to the side and serving others. For many people, it's their job. For others, it's their calling. And for us as Christians, we too are called to serve one another. Now, I'm wondering here on this Maundy, Thursday, how can we, as followers of Jesus, continue to wash one another's feet? Don't go and make any rash decisions. Don't put yourself in harm's way if it's not necessary. But still, I encourage you, be creative and consider how you might be of service to someone else during this time. All right, friends, have a blessed Maundy, Thursday. We'll check in with you later.